little slow today, isn't it?
Moving.
I know.
Don't want to do that yet.
Okay, we're live.
Good afternoon. At this time, we'll call the Board of Commissioners March 16th meeting to order. And before we get into the prayer and the pledge, I would like to go through the Zoom instructions. Participants can join the Zoom meeting using the following instructions. Log into www.zoom.us, then enter meeting ID number 977-6119-6006, or dial in either number below, 1-312-626-6799 or 1-646-558-8656. And then again, enter meeting ID number 977-6119-6006. Then press pound and then pound again. If your line is muted, press 6 to unmute. At this time, we're going to stand. We're going to have prayer led by myself, Commissioner Heberly, and then we're going to have the pledge by Commissioner Block. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the freedom that we have here in the United States to hold public meetings due to the things we need to discuss for our community and our county. We ask that you would guide and direct us through this meeting, that we would make good judgment calls and discuss the agenda that we have before us today. We ask for your guidance. We ask these things and thank you in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll do a roll call. Denise?
District 1, Commissioner John Black.
Here.
District 2, Commissioner Bill Sarcella.
Here.
District 4, Commissioner Roger Ballard.
Here.
District 5, Commissioner Joel Wyatt.
Here.
District 2, Chairman Gary Heberly.
Here. Thank you, Denise. Additions, corrections, and deletions to the agenda. I see none. Does anyone have anything to add or change on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. I will entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda.
So move. Support.
It's been moved in support to adopt today's agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Adoption agenda is as stated. Any corrections to the meeting minutes from March 2nd, 2001? Okay, hearing none. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the March 2nd, 2021 BOC meeting.
So moved. Support.
Okay, there's been a motion made in support for approval of the meetings of March 2nd, 2021. Any further discussion, comments, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Minutes from March 2nd, 2021 approved. Correspondence, petitions, and introductions in front of you. Each commissioner, we have communications here on the blue sheet. I trust it. Read through those, and as far as correspondence and petitions, I have no other. Commissioner reports. Joe, we want to start with you today?
All right,
Okay.
well, since the last time we met, we had one township with a meeting. It was a Zoom meeting and don't have much to report on that. And we have a couple of inquiries in our municipalities about the turbines that are making their way into the southern part of Sanilac County. We've got some interesting information from the townships and the manner in which they're looking to address those, yet to be disclosed, be part of an upcoming meeting. And the only other thing I can offer is something on the committee report.
Roger?
I attended Flint Township meeting and caught the tail end of the Marlette Township Board meeting. I may start rotating them every other month so I can sit through the whole meeting, kind of keep up a little better on things. It's tough to catch them. We had a Zoom meeting for Michigan Works Friday. Sat through that. That was several hours long, which it was very informative. They've got a lot going on. They have just about 3,000 jobs posted in their 6-county area. And
Fulfill them, right?
I'm sorry,
I can't fulfill
they're having a hard time,
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I've been on their website since that meeting, and I mean, the jobs range from nurses, aides, all the way up to RNs, and it just, not just healthcare, but there are a lot in healthcare. I had our IT person put a link. They're actually listed under our departments on the county website, but there was no website link. So there is one there now that people can access. So they have a lot of services available. There's assistance from all the way from doing your resume to training, daycare assistance, transportation. There's really no excuse for somebody to not find and fulfill a job, really. So that was about it. Oh, one thing, they are going to have a drive-through drop-off for resumes.
Mhm.
There's going to be a red box outside their service centers. So that'll be convenient.
They're down here.
Yep, any other service centers in the region. Yep.
Okay. Thank you for that report and thank you for the update, Roger. Commissioner Sokella.
Village of Port Sanilac continues to move forward with their water project. They're really pleased with the process they've had with that. Sanilac Township went live this last meeting, so I would suggest everybody, if you're going to be taking any meetings, double check and make sure if they're live or Zoom. Because fortunately, I only live 2 miles away from that meeting, and when I went to Zoom, there was no Zoom. But they have had some marijuana inquiries, as all the townships have had, I'm sure, but they already have an ordinance in place. So that's helped them out with that process. Some garage sale concerns as the weather's starting to warm up, and their fire authority is moving forward as well. And that's been a thing that a lot of the other communities are watching because they're just seeing how that's all going to work out with them. And then they've got a new contractor helping them with their water hookups. And then the girls at the township level want to take over the water billing that currently is handled by Lexington. So they're moving forward, and pretty soon they'll probably be, other than providing the service, they'll be the full owners of the water project for not only them, but also the village of Sanilac as well, Port Sanilac. That's all I have for.
Thank you.
Bill, I got a question.
Sure.
Was that the Sanilac Fire Authority, or are you talking about Croswell's?
No, Sanilac Fire Authority. Yeah, they have one in place already.
Right.
So everybody's kind of observing that to see how that progresses.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have nothing to report at this time, and I'll turn the forward to John for your report.
I've reached out to a few supervisors in my district. A lot of the townships still aren't having meetings. They don't have the technology to do the Zoom. And so there's been some meetings and some parking lots and stuff to get, absolute needed business done. But other than that, I don't have anything to report.
Okay, thank you.
We're doing it in the parking lot?
Yeah, they're sitting in their cars.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have a township that sets out in their cars. It's cold. In fact, we don't sit in the cars, we stand outside. So, yeah.
I talked to one supervisor today that was hoping that they were going to be able to start doing some indoor stuff because these townships got to have their budgets done at the end of the month, and then board of reviews are coming. So sooner or later, they're going to have to sit down and deal with it. So.
Thank you, Jen. Administrator report.
All right, just a few items. We're slowly closing the gap on our outstanding item list with our auditors, so we're just about to the finish line there. So far, everything has been going really well. We did have some adjusting entries because the auditors wanted things done a little bit differently than how we booked them. So of course, that turns into adjusting entries. And there was also a recommendation on our fixed asset process. So currently we utilize a spreadsheet to track all of our fixed assets, which is quite large. So they will have a recommendation for a better process on how to handle fixed assets when they report. I want to say it'll be May or June when they give their final report. And then in addition, I did meet with Chairman Heberling and Chairman Black. Just earlier today, we were talking about the additional recovery funds through the American Rescue Plan. So we're working to outline a strategic plan which will identify some immediate needs for the county as well as intermediate needs that might be a little bit further out, and then long-term needs up to 4 years. This next round of funding that's coming in can be utilized through December 31st of 2024. So through that process, we discussed seeking input from department officials and then also the Board of Commissioners on infrastructure needs for building and IT related needs. And then we're still waiting for additional guidance from the Department of Treasury. So once we have more information, we can continue working on that plan. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tara. The only question I
Sure.
want to use the right terminology here in regards to our audits, the things that they pick out. Those are things that auditors are supposed to do.
Yeah.
They're not uncommon.
That's why we have them. So they can verify what we're doing and make sure that they agree with the process. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Maybe you can answer it. Is all that $8 million or close to 8 million, is that going to funnel through the county government?
It will.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that reference. I was curious.
Any other questions for Tara? Okay.
Sarah?
Yeah.
When we look at early, literature or documentation or requirements for this money, we don't know what the parameters are exactly yet.
Not quite yet. They're
But it should be
very,
pretty well understood that it's for the negatively affected economic impact that COVID-19 has brought about and the subsequent safety measures, protective measures, all that, right? So
Well,
it's pretty
it
expansive.
can be, yeah.
It's COVID rescue
Yeah.
plan, basically, yeah.
Well, the president authorized almost a $2 trillion plan, of which very little of it actually goes directly to COVID. So,
9%,
yeah, very little.
shameful.
I don't want to do that here. I look at this, since we've got this topic and we're talking about it, this should be utilized to benefit the general population of Sand Lake, both business and private, in the most broad spread way possible. And it should be a positive impact to the greatest of the population. That's my take on it. That'll be difficult to figure out what's the best way to do so, but.
Yeah, I would say this funding has been looked at as a blessing and a curse to several counties, as we've discussed with other administrators on how to navigate this funding.
Any other questions for Tara? Okay. Seeing none, moving on. Agenda item number 12, public comments. Any comments or questions concerning our agenda today by the public? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the presentation of our 2020 County Clerk Annual Report. Ms. Denise Boyer. What was that introduction?
I emailed this to you yesterday, and there's been no changes on it, because I know it's a little comprehensive. I wanted to make sure you had a chance to look over it before today. Just kind of a quick overview of the different functions in our office. Basically, I have 3 separate divisions, which ironically have nothing to do with one another. I have the court division that takes care of circuit and family court. I have the vital records division and the elections. So it makes it a very interesting and very lively office because I have staff that in each one of those divisions. And so everything is always evolving and changing. In fact, I'm going to conferences Thursday and Friday, the first in person. And we have the Bureau of Elections there, state police is there, and a lot of proposed legislation on changes. So it's a full-time job just keeping up with all the legislative changes and all of the aspects. So on the second page, I function, as you know, as the clerk of the Board of Commissioners. And then on the next page, I should have numbered these, I apologize for that. The clerk for circuit court, family court, and juvenile court. We take in as well all the cash payments for both courts. Neither one of those offices have ability to receive money. So we do take in all of that through our office. We have, every time that there's a court hearing, I'm responsible to make sure that I have a court reporter in those hearings to record all of that, those as well as all of the administration and the paperwork. We have been working at trying to, it's been a little suspended for the last 6 months, trying to scan and eliminate, because the actual paper files, as this picture is here, this is just a picture of our inside of our vault, but on the other side of here, we have a whole storage room that is full. So it's going to be a need down the road, rather than figuring out where to put it. I have the state court administrator's office in figuring out how can we get rid of all this paper. So, and it's a long process, but the girls in the summer months and when I'm fully staffed, we'll hopefully get back to doing that as well. The next is the review of the court activity. As you can see throughout everything in my office, COVID didn't really affect my office much. I had a lot of the same activity, if not more. My office has been open every day, and we began 648 brand new cases added to all of the hundreds that are still active and open as well. The register of vital records, all the different things, the vital records department. So the only thing, we have not allowed genealogy done in our office with COVID. We haven't, because they actually go back in a vault, and we allow one person back there physically at a time. So that's about the only thing with vital records. So we've been extremely busy because a lot of people realized they did not have their proper paperwork when they were filing for unemployment or benefits. Names weren't correct on. So our vital records last year was very busy in that regard. And the vital records, as far as the numbers, the largest increase was CPLs. We went from 684 in 19 with over 1,018 CPLs. So it keeps us busy. In fact, we do have our fingerprinting up and running. I think the highest day, one day we did 8 brand new applicants and fingerprinted 8 people. So that is, as the weather is getting nice and the people that have the outdoor training facilities, that will become really, really busy in the upcoming months.
The outdoor what?
Shooting range and training facilities.
I thought you meant your outdoor.
No. A lot of them don't do them through the winter months. It's too cold. And then chief election official, needless to say, last year, that was my life. And we were extremely busy.
Exciting year, huh?
Yeah, anytime we start right off the bat, right after January 1st, starting to work on the presidential primary. And then we had a May special election right when all this COVID hit. So that was very interesting. We ended up running that through AV counting boards. And it was challenging getting all that in place. And then of course the August and November, though, even with COVID, we had a massive turnout and even a lot of in-person voting.
I think the post-election audits, you reported on that, and I think most of us heard about that from our
Well, that is.
township. That's a done deal now?
Yes, we've always had post-election audits where after a general or a primary or a general, the Secretary of State will randomly pick 3 jurisdictions for me. And I have to go out and basically, it's basically a recount. We literally open up the ballot bags, we go through everything, they give us one office, we do a physical recount, and then, but it's very nice to do that because then it gives me the chance to look at every part of the process, to processing AVs, the required postings that they have to do. They're reporting to the Republican Democrat chairman on their election inspector. So it's kind of a lot more than just actually counting the ballots. It's a lot more procedural, which has always been nice because then I keep a note of that. And so when I do my next training, I make sure that I really hit on those items. Last year, we trained over 300 election inspectors. A lot of that is my doing because I've encouraged these jurisdictions to do shifts. Do not expect these poor people to work 16 hours a day. And the most important part is that last hour. When you're buttoning up everything, you're getting everything ready to bring to me and sealing up everything. That's the most important part of the day. And you know, after you've worked for 16, 15 hours, they're had. So by doing that, everybody has got probably a good pool of 10, 12, 15, depending on the size of jurisdiction. So the second audit Secretary Benson come up with was this, it was a pilot program. And some of the clerks in the county participated, some chose not to. There was quite a few in the state that chose not to participate. We already went through the complete post-election audits, and they have provided that result with the state, and they called it a pilot exercise when it was all done.
Good little terminology, huh?
So we assume 4 years down the road, it will probably become another mandate, but, okay, election services provided. This is a lot of the other election duties that we provide through our office. Some are mandated, some are not. I am the school coordinator for all of our 7 schools. I take in all the filings for all the candidates. Right now, the next thing we have right now is the ISD. It's a non-popular election, but the candidates still file in my office, and I put together their ballot and deliver that to the ISD board. Voter registration, the state is actually showcasing that to us this week. There's going to be a new application and that's going to supposedly make it easier. It's going to integrate everything with your driver's license, with your voter registration, with, they're trying to get, rather than all these state programs and systems, this is supposed to bring it all together. That's why the Secretary of State's it's down online right now for a few days. They're making the conversion.
Yeah, okay.
And then the big thing that I do on election day is we do all the coding. We actually process, we create and do everything with our coding. And you'll see that that's the major component in my revenue in my elections budget, is because I charge all of the townships and cities to do that rather than a third-party company to do that. Or our fees are a whole lot cheaper, so it's a win-win for them, it's a win for us. They brought in about $60,000 in revenue last year in coding. But that is not something that has to be done, and if I chose not to do that, then they would have to go and have the company do that, and then you wait in line and wait for whenever they get done with printing them and with coding. The statutory appointments, just a couple other things that I also take care of the Board of Canvassers, the Election Commission. The canvassers are always, after the election, the Election Commission is post-election, is pre-election work. That is the probate judge, the county treasurer, and myself. So like if the jurisdiction comes in and files millage proposal that requires us to have a special election, or if someone comes in and files a recall, that is the duties that fall through the election commission. The next thing is the reapportionment of county boards of commission. I didn't have this in much of it in my last year packet because it's only something we deal with every 10 years. Once a census is published, then the reapportionment board set by law is the prosecuting attorney, the county clerk, county treasurer, and the chairpersons of the two local major political parties. So in our county is the Republican and Democrat Party. So it's a 5-member board. So what happens is the commission districts are reviewed as far as population. And the Supreme Court has indicated what the allowable deviation is between each commission district. So the first thing that they'll do is we'll have to review our census when that gets published, and they're telling us it's not going to be until September. I'm hoping this week when I go to conference, they're doing a half day just on this for us, then I get better information on that. Because after that's released, we only have 60 days to adopt a new county commission district lines, which is going to be tight because a lot of times commissioners file December, January. Well, you got to know that's all got to be set in place because after the reapportionment approves or adopts a plan, if the board numbers go up, districts lines change, all that has to be set in place. So that's going to be very difficult if the federal government doesn't release the census. Plus, it also affects the redistricting commission that was voted on in 2018. They're also redrawing the state house districts as well. So you're going to hear a lot about this. We're going to have our first meeting after I come back from conference. I wanted to get that information first before we actually sit down and have because we have to have a procedural meeting, adopt our procedures, how we're going to do this. It was interesting looking through the old minutes. And like I said, it's only 10 years, so obviously there's very few times the same person was involved in it. And sometimes they had public hearings, sometimes they didn't. Others asked for input from the local jurisdictions. So you'll be hearing a lot about this, but it really won't really start as far as looking at plans and looking at the county commission district lines until the census data is released. Next is online services. I started this last year in 2019, and in 2020, basically it is about 600 people that were able to do services with our office without coming into the office. I'm trying very hard to get to the point where everything that you need to do at our counter, that you can at least start the process or at least maybe fill out the forms ahead of time and bring in. There's a lot of things that we have to administer oaths to. So there's, of course, those things you're not going to not be able to come in line, but to order a court document, birth certificate, marriage license, death certificate, all of that can now be done online. So it's worked out very well. And Nancy Rich is the one that totally created this. We didn't purchase a third-party software to do this, and it works very well.
Good.
County directory, that is maintained in my office. Lori is responsible to keep that updated. She is the one that's in a lot of contact with all of the municipalities. So I do want to mention, as you're out in your township and your city meetings, just remind them if they have, I only have people on there that gets elected. So if people leave and they appoint someone, a replacement, there's no need to report that to me. So if they can just remember to report changes or look at this periodically, it makes it really nice. As well as all of our departments we have on here, and we try to keep that up. And Jody and Lori do good on that as employees change. But one thing I have found is I will get calls when townships or cities change their board meetings. And if it's short change, that's different, you know, for that particular month. But if they're actually changing and as they go back live, they might have a new schedule. So we're gonna have to reach out to all of them and make sure that information gets updated. The review of the finances. My office last year took in $1.3 million. And then I have broken that down, $214,000 in the general fund. And then the other ones basically are dispersed out. We take them in, they run through my office, but then for different reasons, then and court orders and state, you know, a lot of money that we bring in, we might take in $100, but 50 of it we have to send to the state. So, you know, we don't get a big portion of it. And then just the lines, the different revenue lines that we have. And then just an overview of the organizational chart. I have 3 full-time people in my court division. I have my vital records division and then the election. And I do have the vacant court reporter position posted. And then the last page, well, the software applications. Just wanted to mention this because this really makes my office so unique. My employees are required to be very proficient in 13 different softwares. So it is really challenging because until you're there for a while and know what, we have so many different programs for so many different features that we do. And so it definitely is a real challenge and it's a little overwhelming when we have new employees. It's like, well, we'll just take a couple at a time each week. And then my last page is just my new services and goals. We already started the fingerprinting. Today on your finance packet, I've asked to establish the public fingerprinting. The state police, they sent me the chart. We can do public fingerprinting for about 46 different codes. There's some that we can't do, but virtually almost most of them, any of those items are in there. And then my goal this year with Nancy is to get the online marriage application. They're still gonna have to come in and sign the affidavit in front of us, but
I was gonna ask you about that, how that worked.
but some people literally take a half an hour at the counter filling out a marriage application. There's a lot of information and then they have to keep going out in the hallway calling. You would not believe how many people do not know their mother's maiden name or where their parents were born. So, you know, that isn't going to save a lot of time on our spot, other than it's just going to make that process a lot quicker. They'll be able to bring it in, be able to submit it and just come in, prove it, sign it, and pay the fee. And then the biggest project I got going on this year is the transitioning from our jury system. Judge Sheeple and I, we've talked about it for a couple of years, and I said, there is no way I can take this project on until I'm on an off election year. So we've been starting right January 1st. Judge Rathwell and I and Judge Ross, we've been talking about it. It's going to work out very well. It's going to definitely change the dynamics on how we do juries and jury trials in this county. There's no longer going to be mass mailings and questionnaires, and we send out 2,500 questionnaires. We break them up into 4 panels, and we're going to go on a trial case by case. So, like I said, I will have to appoint a jury manager. I plan to incorporate those duties into my chief deputy. She ultimately administers the court division. And so, so her job would then be to monitor the trial schedule. Then she will be meeting with the judge and we'll figure out how many pool of jury we need depending on the type of case, time of year, the high profileness of the case, depending. So, they might say draw 75 people. So with this, we will just, it'll no longer be a questionnaire and we'll qualify you. We're gonna pick 75 people and they're gonna get a summons to appear at the same time. Well, some people aren't gonna be able to do that. So both judges have signed an order that my office will be responsible to take care of all the excusals, deferrals, vacation leaves. Some people only, need maybe one day off or whatever. So, but by doing this will be it's gonna save you thousands of dollars.
I believe when Judge Rothwell was down here 2-3 weeks ago, he made that comment. I know when
Yeah.
I met with him in his chamber one day, he said it'd be a cost savings, a nice cost savings over time.
Well, just the 3 jury boards alone, you pay a quarterly salary to them. They no longer will be doing this work. They're just, the law is that they have to come in for an annual meeting, and we have that set up the 1st of May. Basically, the courts will take care of the jury administration. And, I just did the yield report that we had to send to the state from last year. I mean, even the yield is only about 40%. We send out 2,500 and, about 40% of the people actually return it and are qualified to serve. None of that. The thing is, if you do it 3 weeks out, most people can make that commitment to be there. And the summons is going to say it's just for this trial. There's no a duration of 6 weeks or 10 weeks. It's just going to be that trial. When you're done, you get your debit card, you're done. And you're good for a year. So that's our big job this year. You'll be hearing lots about that through the year as we work out all the logistics of it. Questions?
Well, Denise, thank you for your fine report and thank you for sharing with us. Okay, moving on to our agenda, we have interviews, and the first interview we'll have is going to be online from including Christine Lee, and that's for a Region Area Agency on Aging Board.
Hello,
Hi, Christine. Welcome to our meeting and thanks for coming on.
that is no problem. I put my application to be reappointed to the Region 7 Area Agency on Aging. I have really enjoyed being on this board. I felt this is one of the better boards that I have ever served on. They are doing some wonderful things. We're building a new PACE Center that's located behind the Lakeshore Presbyterian Church. If you go along the Lakeshore in Fort Gratiot Township there, and it's coming along that they have bumped our grand opening date till June. And Stacy Dulowicz is going to be the PACE director there. And what it is, it's like an adult daycare type. And then we had a meeting this morning that they're concerned about Senate Bill 203 and House Bill 4432 that I haven't really got to study it because we just got the information this morning, but what it entails that these bills are inviting non-Michigan providers to jump in front of the Michigan providers and taking the resources away from like PACE centers and things like that.
That's what these bills are saying? They're saying non-Michigan people are jumping ahead of our Michigan people?
Yeah, for the PACE centers to run them.
Okay.
They started out as a nonprofit group and then now they're for profit. And what they're going is they're hitting like, they want to hit like the Southeast Michigan area, like Detroit and like up by Saginaw and those areas. And they're forgetting about us little communities which the region serves the, by counties and stuff. And like I said, I just got this information this morning. In fact, I had a meeting on this at 10 o'clock. And they want us to write our representatives or call our representatives and call our senators and saying that we're not happy with it. And they give us a bullet point presentation to discuss with them. So is there any questions you have for me or?
Any questions for Christine?
Nope.
Thank you so much, Christine, and a good report, and thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Move to close nomination.
Well, we don't, that's the next page, we do that, right?
I'll get back on.
Yeah, okay. Moving on to Satellite Committee Mental Health Board, and I believe that, Will, you're gonna say a couple things, but before you do, I wanna tell the commissioners here, the first name is not Linda, it's Lynn Brown.
Lynn?
And I believe, Will, you're gonna talk about a couple of these people, is that correct?
You want me to do that first?
Want to do that now or no?
That's me.
Okay.
Honestly, again, I wanted to tell the county commission how much the Satellite County Committee on Mental Health really appreciates the support that you've offered. Great picture in the paper, by the way. We took that, right? Someone else did.
Steve did that, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a nice picture in the paper, so it was good to see that. But obviously, we're here today for reappointments. I have 4 positions on my board opening up. And 5 candidates. 4 of the candidates are actually current board members. I believe 2 of them are in the hall. I wanted to speak a little bit for Linda Willis, who's a family member representative. She's been on our board for, I believe, 15 years, very active board member, unfortunately.
She called me this morning,
Did she?
well,
Yes.
saying she was
Very,
very
well.
sick, couldn't,
Yes, very concerned that she couldn't come, so she asked me to also say a few things for her. But I wanted to tell you that she's been a very active board member the entire time that I've been there at the agency, including attending all state conferences and things of that nature, a very active board member. And the other board member I don't believe will be here today is Bob Kazepka. A lot of you probably know Bob Kazepka. He was a probation officer here in the county for years. His wife, I think, was clerk. So, and again, Bob's a very important member of our board. He's actually our vice chair. He is also a member of the PIHP board, which he sits on which is our funder. So he plays a very active role for us as well. And I just wanted to say that they've both been very good, longstanding board members, and they both apologize that they can't be here today. Lynn and Nanette are outside, and I don't know Carol.
okay. All right, thank you, Will. You want to bring in, Lynn? Lynn, you can come up right to the podium there if you want, please.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I've been on the board for 10 years. I learned a lot about budgeting, and you just go with what you need to do and make your decisions the right way. I'm very proud to be on the board. I've learned, like I said, a lot, and I never really understood the budget until I started the board. Now I follow it quite regularly.
Makes a difference when you get on and get part of an organization, don't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any questions? Yep, no, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that Lynn is one of our consumer board members. She represents the individuals who receive services through Satellite County Community Mental Health, and she's a strong advocate for the individuals that we do serve. And is not only is she on our board, but she chairs our Consumer Advisory Board, which is a group that meets monthly that our individuals who receive services to provide guidance to the organization as to how we can expand services and provide better care for our community. And she doesn't do herself justice today, but she's a very, very active board member.
If you're trying to set up a thing for anybody that on the guardianship in the summer that needs help with mowing their lawn or tree removal, to get a hold of CMH, and we will see what we can do to help them on the consumer advisory board.
Thank you for your dedication. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you very much. You can, Linda? I'm sorry, it's right here in front of me. Yep, go ahead.
I've been called Linda before.
I had a star beside it that you were coming, so.
Okay, I have been receiving mental health services for over 40 years. I started in Macomb County and then I moved to Salem County probably about 15 years ago. And there is where I found my salvation with the Junior Mental Health Board up here. We didn't have much success in the Macomb system, where Salem County would be a little smaller, it looked more intimate and personal care. And when I came up here, I wasn't even able to speak. I was just the basket face. In 3 years of services, for 15 years now, I am currently private care or client, I should say. I was with CMH, and then with the budget change, I was out on my own. I support CMH. I feel I need to pay back what they gave to me. I have chaired, I have been on many boards, personnel program. I'm done, personnel program, recipient rights, I'm very active with that. I was secretary on the recipient rights. And executive was the other one. I try to attend all the conferences and I've been on board for 9 years. This will be number 9 today.
Long time. Any questions for tonight? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nobody else.
That's it? Okay.
The difference between the family member representative and the consumer representative would be,
According to the mental health code, we're required to have 3 different types of board members. Individuals who are recipients of services, which then fills the second category, is either an individual or a recipient of service or a family member, which is Nanette and Linda fall. Nanette was a primary recipient of services, but she's just under that category because we have to have so many in each category.
and is it recipient of services for Sandline? Or,
No, it's not that specific. It could be anyone who's received, it really should be someone who receives publicly funded mental health services. That's always been the way that we
she
have.
said private.
She's private currently. She used to receive services directly from the publicly funded system.
Thanks.
And then I'll just talk to them for a second. I'll be right back.
We waiting for him or can we move on? Okay. All right, moving to 13A, appointment of standing committees, county commissioner appointments to board committees and committees. Next on our list is, our agenda is Region 7, and that is Kristen Lee. And then the next one, Sand Lake County Community Health. These can be made by motion and roll call. So first will be Region 7 Area Agency on Aging Board. We have the appointment for one for a 3-year term, and we have one person, Christine Lee, which we just interviewed.
I'll
So,
make a motion to support or appoint Christine Lee to county delegate.
okay, there's a motion made to appoint Christine Lee to the Region 7 Area Agency. Entertain a support.
Support.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
You can just do voice vote.
Pardon me?
You can just do voice vote on these.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Congratulations, Christine. Next is Sand Lake County Community Mental Health Board, appointment 2 to a 3-year term, expires 3/31/2024. We have 2 individuals, Linda Brown, consumer representative, and Robert Kozafka, General Public Representative. I'll entertain a motion. I need a motion first, yeah.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of Lynn Brown and Robert Kozafka for the Sand Lake County Community Mental Health Board 3-year term? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Congratulations to those two people. Next on our agenda is appointment 2 family member representatives. And we have appointment 2 family, and we have Carol Durman, Annette that just spoke, and Linda Willis. And before us, we have a ballot to vote, and we go ahead and vote at this time. Correct? Nope, sorry.
We need to place the names in nomination and
Oh, okay. I need a motion to place him in the nomination.
So moved.
Okay. Entertain support?
Support.
Any further discussion?
We don't have anything from Carol Dorman, right?
There's just a letter.
Yeah,
That's all. That was it.
Letter in your packet.
we have 2 openings there, so. All in favor, say aye. We need to finish.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passed. Okay, go ahead and vote.
five votes for Nanette and Linda.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations to those 2 people. Next on our agenda is jury board appointment 2. We have 2 people that have submitted their names, Lori Reach and Angela Kramer, both for, one for a 6-year term and Angela Kramer for a partial 6-year term. And let me just go back here. Lorraine expires 4/30 of 2027, and Angela Kramer, partial 6-year term expires 4/30, 2025. And the appointments for 2, so we can make a motion for that.
So moved.
Okay, been a motion made, support by Commissioner Joel Wyatt. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Congratulations to those 2. 13B, County Commissioner appointments to boards, commissions, committees, non-county commissioner chair appointments, none. General resolutions, number 15 on our agenda. Commissioner Sarkella is going to read the Sand Lake County 9/11 fee diversion resolution. That's found on page 4, I believe, of our agenda.
Whereas the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, is accepting comments in its plan to eliminate the diversion of 911 fees for items it deems not directly related to the 911 process. And whereas Michigan Public Act 32 of 1986 provides for each local 911 district to utilize 911 fees within certain limitations that are determined by the state, regularly audited for compliance with the limitations. And whereas under Michigan law, allowable uses include radio systems, paging systems, pagers, automatic vehicle location, ABL systems, and mobile data computers, MDCs. And whereas FCC proposed rules impinge upon Michigan's ability to determine the definition of allowable costs for 911 fees. And whereas FCC proposed rules would eliminate the utilization of funds for radio infrastructure, mobile radios, portable radios, pagers, ABL systems, and MDCs critical to dispatching a 911 response. And whereas the Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners believe a broader use and interpretation of the phrase directly related to the 911 process should be adopted to include the entire 911 dispatching communication process. And whereas the Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners believe the local decision-making and local control regarding utilization of 911 fees is paramount, now therefore be it resolved that the Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners supports a broader use and interpretation of the phrase directly related to the 911 process and support local decision-making and local control regarding the utilization of 911 fees.
Thank you, Commissioner Sakala. Thank you for that motion. I'll entertain your support. Okay, my motion made in support. Any further discussion?
Is Dawn Cupid on the line by chance?
I am.
Okay,
Can you speak to this a little bit?
I sure can. It's a really hot topic in the area of public safety at this time. Basically, it will not affect Sand Lake County at this time because we have our 911 millage and it does not affect those funds. But our surcharge money that we get for our budget, they would be able to tell us that we can't pay for radios or other equipment that are necessary for 911. And basically what the problem is there are some states that don't have quite the audit process that Michigan does. So I believe that some of their funding has been diverted for law enforcement versus getting the 911 equipment necessary for next gen 911. But that's not the case in Michigan and other states as well. So we're asking, or actually our MCDA group and the Michigan Sheriff's Association is asking all of us to get this resolution passed by our county boards to take it to the national level.
Thank you.
thank you, Don. Any further questions? Denise, you want to do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Black,
Yes.
Commissioner Sarcella,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Wyatt,
Yes.
Chairman Heberlin.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Don.
Thank you, Dawn.
Appreciate you coming on. Next on our agenda, new business, and we'll start with FA 053-21. Approval. Pardon me?
Committee reports, want to move up to them?
I'm sorry. I skipped right over that, and I think, Joel, we'll go to committee
Well,
reports.
just regarding the broadband committee
Yes.
and the discussion about the finalization of the surveys that's done. They're putting all those surveys together to create a data file that can be useful to analyze and use going forward. Of course, the topic that we discussed earlier from the administrative report with the funding has become available. That funding is at this point also could be used for broadband. And that has been a discussion amongst the committee members. What would be the best way to serve the community as a whole if there was an influx of funding into the broadband network of Sand Lake County. We'll be having a meeting shortly on that, I'm sure, not on that particular subject, but overall, and I'll give you the update after that.
What's the future look like for broadband in Sand Lake County? Have you got that far? That you have any inclination to where that may be a reality, not a reality? Is it going to take years to come?
The northern part of the community, it's called RDOF, and basically was an auction to distribute services on a federal level. And the winners of that auction have to pledge pushing a certain amount of broadband in a certain area in a certain period of time. And that is, I believe it was Thumb Electric. And they're doing the northern part of the county and they're actually pushing fiber to residents. They expect to have that done possibly within 4 years ahead of schedule.
I just received a letter on that. We're part of Thumb Electric, yeah.
So that's what's going on, but that's only for the northern part of the community. And of course, plenty of villages and cities have already got fiber ran to them already. One of the discussions was among one of the members on the committee is that in the future, having access in the field or planting devices and stuff like that. He gave out an interesting little article about right now, farmers, I guess they can capture and use some products that will allow them to plant at roughly 5 miles an hour. And they're looking within the next 3 to 4 years, having the capability of running 15 miles an hour, planting with a precise measurement using satellite technology and also cell technology within 2 centimeters.
15 mile an hour and 2 centimeters.
2 centimeters.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I was reading
That's
that.
incredible.
Did you read that? Yeah, wasn't that cool?
Pretty amazing. And nobody in the.
And nobody in the
machinery.
tractor.
They can be sitting home doing
Yeah,
other
but
things.
that's all dependent upon having the right connectivity and the right kind of broadband and bandwidth.
Wasn't it John Deere's working on that?
That was it, John.
John Deere's been working on it for several years, actually. Yeah.
And, you know, you listen to the airwaves right now, and that's a major topic of discussion is broadband and connectivity throughout the state with what happened with the school shutdown and everything. I mean, I know there's a lot of hotspots out there, but they're only as good as the connection to the hotspot.
Sure.
So it may be something that we consider as we move forward, how we can help facilitate that.
Mhm. Thank you, Commissioner White. Any questions for Commissioner?
I do. Commissioner White, you referenced the northern part of the county and Thumb Electric Cooperative as a potential internet access point. There's a lot of northern Silent County that does not use Thumb Electric. So have you been in talks with DTE? Are they offering the same thing? I just don't want there to be a misconception that the northern edge of the county is going to be covered by it.
Well, that's a good distinction. I just know that in these discussions with a couple individuals about this particular topic, the ones that Thumb Electric are involved are in the northern part, but it doesn't spread across east to west like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a map sometime of what the districts are between Thumb Electric and DTE, but I'm sure they don't make any sense at all. Because when you're realistically out looking around, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't a misconception there. So that's all I had. Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. Any other committee reports?
I don't have anything.
Community Corrections Board met essentially just to introduce the services that they provide to our newly elected officials. So we were represented by judge of the courts, the prosecutor was here, sheriff department representatives, and just wanted them to know the programs that are available. In particular, there was a lot of conversation with Judge Rathel about upgrading the OWI third program. They want to try to move something for 12 weeks for the counseling portion of it and potentially introduce it to the jail so they don't have to move them off site to get through some of the transition that our prisoners are going through. Tara, you put that together, so it was very good timing to have all the new elected officials come. Did you want to add anything to that at all?
That was the major focus, was just regarding the programming. We did have representation from the health department as well, and they're a key player in providing programming. So it went really well, I thought. I was quite impressed.
Okay.
Then the Council on Aging met yesterday for their first meeting. They do not meet in January and February, and well attended. They paid up their budget up to date, so everything is approved as far as their obligations for billing. HDC was there presenting from Caro Health Department, and also our treasurer made a financial report on their assets as well.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Sakala? Commissioner Black?
Yeah, so I'd briefly like to touch on the topic for the County Planning Commission. There's been talk of a large-scale solar array coming to the county. And then Commissioner White, you actually alluded to some potential green energy stuff going on in the southern edge of the county.
That's correct.
I was not aware of that. So what we were thinking about doing was.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Yeah, we were thinking about putting out just kind of a heads up to all the townships and villages to be aware that this sort of development is coming to the county and be prepared with, ordinances, that there are resources out there to help make those decisions. I'm really glad you brought that up because now I think we need to include, we just need to include a very broad, and we'll be working on that this week and hopefully have something put out. And that's something for all of you guys to be aware of when you're meeting with your local jurisdictions and stuff, that if they have questions about that, to make sure they know to reach out. And if there's resources, we'll try to point them in the right direction.
Well, as a matter of fact, to that, if you don't mind, John, Speaker Township is having a planning committee meeting tonight. And that is one of the major topics of discussion.
Was it solar? So, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and we know that letter that we're likely going to send is going to land on a lot of desks of people that are already aware, but we just want to make sure that maybe some of these townships that haven't been approached have a heads up that they may be, and to be prepared for it.
Marlette Township was not aware of the potential for the solar farm in Watertown Township.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I attended a meeting 3 weeks ago at the airport, and a number of elected officials, myself and some local farmers attended. And when we got there, we found out it was really just to give an update by Samsung on the permits that they were getting. And as it turned out, the people attending, including myself, we were looking for more information. And so I'll leave it at that. There's a lot of work to be done. And I believe right now, Watertown Township has put a moratorium on that until more and more is understood. So, yeah, there's a lot going on with solar throughout our county, more maybe more than we know.
Yep.
So,
Commissioner Block, you know if there's a source of ordinances at this point in time that the townships might be able to resource?
So that's a little bit of a contentious issue. So the way I view the county planning commission is that there's no real authority to that board. It's an advisory board. And whatever we put out is going to get viewed on one side or the other. So the goal is to try to be, hey, this is coming. We just want you to be aware. Giving them some options of ordinances is something that I've been really looking into, and I have actually gotten some solar ordinances from other jurisdictions. But I'm apprehensive about sharing those because I don't want it to be perceived that, hey, these are rubber stamped by the county board. This is what we think you should do. Because I don't even want to present that concept that we're trying to encourage them to do one thing or the other.
micromanage them.
Yeah, they are absolutely decisions to be made at the local level. We just more or less want to make sure that they know that this stuff is coming. And that the point that you made is something that I don't know that we've I think we'll have to discuss that on Thursday.
Well, there needs more discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then there's the realistic part of it of if we create these packets and send them to every township in the county, if we start adding ordinances in those paper packets, it could get quite lengthy.
But rather, instead, along those lines, just have a list of townships in Sanilac or the surrounding community that do have ordinances. And then you got a list of townships that they can on their own do so. There's no.
Yeah, I'm not advocating per se to have us provide them with the ordinance, just.
Oh, no, I think.
But provide them with the source, go to MAC or go
Yeah.
to Worth Township or whoever might have one.
Right. And that's what we got to work out is making sure that we can do that without it being perceived that we're trying to pick a favorite or something. And
Okay.
because when you get into and that's why we want to give the townships a heads up, but these large scale industrial complexes become very contentious very quickly. And we just certainly don't want to add to that in any way.
Yeah, if I could just add to all you commissioners, that meeting I attended to, one of the contentious things that came up was a couple of the farmers said, hey, we don't want to give up 1,800 acres of our prime farmland. On the other side of that debate, another farmer spoke up, not at the meeting, but later. He said, I farmed all this ground for years, and he said, I'm depleting of a lot of minerals and things because of the fertilizers and chemicals he puts on. He said, this is a good thing to rest the ground for the next, 30 years, I believe. So there's debate on both sides of it, but because we are a farming community, there's some that don't want to give up 1,800 acres in that township for solar,
If I may say, and Eric, I'd like you to take note that I believe we were talking about solar. And I mistakenly told you that was the topic of discussion in Speaker Township. I'm incorrect. It's actually wind.
Yeah.
Now I get those two mythical methods of producing electricity.
You meant wind?
mixed up.
When you said turbines,
My apologies.
You did say that
I
earlier.
did.
Yeah. Wind.
so you meant wind, not turbine,
I meant wind, not solar. Correct.
not solar, right?
Correct. There are some down there that are discussing solar, and it is a topic of discussion, but I do believe Speaker Township tonight in their planning meeting is discussing wind.
Okay.
Yes.
One of the things that come up in that meeting is farmers own their ground, or the land on it, leave farmers out of it. That come up that, we bought and paid for that. That's if we find a way to make money. So I understand both sides of the debate,
Yeah, and you get, established farmers having a strong conviction on either side of the argument. For sure.
I know years ago, there was a hot debate, not only at state level, but probably every county. Some older retired farmers with a lot of land were selling it off to suburbanites, and other farmers had a problem with it, but they own the ground, so, yeah. All right, moving on, excuse me, any further discussion? Okay, on committee reports. All right, unfinished business, none, new business, and we'll move to FA-053-21. Approval of 2021 current claims.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2021 identified in the accounts payable report dated March 9th, 2021 for the general bank account in the amount of $122,501.84.
There's been a motion made and support for approval of 2021 current claims. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. FA 054-21, budget adoptions, amendments, appropriations, and transfers.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments and establishes the following accounts.
Okay, got a motion made and support for budget adoptions amendments. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Next is FA 05521. Approval of additional general fund bank account checks charged to February 2021.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of additional general fund bank account checks charged to February 2021 as follows. $141,693.61 from ACH payments, $168,190.31 in checks for a total of $309,883.92.
Support.
Okay, been a motion made and support for FA 05521, approval of additional general bank account. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Next is FA 056-21, authorization to dispose of vehicle sheriff's office.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the Sheriff's Office to dispose of one 2012 Ford Ecoline 350 15-passenger van with mileage of 193,098 miles at Albright Auction Service, and further authorizes the proceeds to be deposited into the police vehicle line.
Support.
There's been a motion made and a support for FA 056-21, authorization to dispose of vehicle for the sheriff's office. Any discussion?
Yeah, Lieutenant Smith, are you on the line?
Lieutenant Smith isn't, but Lieutenant McConaughey's here.
Hello, it says here into the police vehicle line. For some reason, the word police strikes me as new. Is that different?
I guess I can't speak for that. This will be the first one I've done, but I just kind of went to Nate for guidance on that, and I guess that's where the funds usually go.
Police vehicle and equipment.
So what are you referring to, Commissioner White? Should that say sheriff vehicle line?
I don't know. What did it?
It's police vehicle and equipment line.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
You good?
I just don't recall when we've done this. I don't recall there being a police vehicle line. I don't remember that being in the language. Was wondering if it was a new line item or new.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
But it's not, right?
Nope, it's the same. It's
Okay,
the
thanks.
same line.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McConaughey.
No problem.
Okay, any further discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. FA 057-21, authorization to distribute COVID-19 credit.
The Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the distribution of the 2020 health insurance COVID-19 credit as a cash refund to employees who participated in the county health insurance in 2020 and are still currently employed. Further authorizes the credit after employer taxes be distributed equally among eligible participants.
Support. Okay, been a motion made and support, authorization to distribute COVID-19 credit. Any further discussion or questions?
Would it be all right, Tara, if you refresh my memory on that?
Yep, so we received a refund from Priority Health for COVID-19. So it was based, I believe, on our June premium last year. So the requirement through receiving that rebate was to refund a portion of it to the employees.
Right. Is that part of using Gibson now or?
No, that was directly through Priority Health.
Okay.
So that
has
was
to do
a,
with the new-
no,
Thank you.
yep.
Any further questions?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion passed. Next is FA 58 21. Authorization and award bid to purchase compact utility tractor with attachments, and this was through Tri-County. Go ahead.
The Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes and awards Tri-County Equipment the bid to purchase a 2016 John Deere 1023E subcompact utility tractor, snow blower, and loader bucket attachments, along with removable cab enclosure at a cost not to exceed $15,924, including the trade-in allowance of $2,000 for the Exmark, and further Tri-County will waive rental fees incurred for the recently provided equipment with funding from the Buildings and Grounds Fund.
Support.
Have a motion made and support authorization to award bid to purchase compact utility tractor from Tri-County. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose, all the same. Motion passed. NFA 007-21, acceptance of the 2020 County Clerk's Annual Report.
The Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby accepts the 2020 annual report for the county clerk's office as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion made and support by
Joel.
Bill. Okay, and any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion passed. Moving on to agenda number 19, public comments. Any further public comments? Seeing none, there is no closed session today. So there will be no approval of closed session meetings. The last thing on our agenda is adjournment.
So moved.
Support. There's been a motion made by Commissioner Ballard, supported by Commissioner Sarcella, to adjourn our meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor?